Alright, what do I got in front of me today?
Well, today I have the ultimate Jack. Yeah, the ultimate Jack. The model number is the RDJ-2K. Woo! Okay. The reason why I got the Jack is because today I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my Jack on my trailer. And the reason why is I like this one is because at least I can adjust the position so that I can at least lift my tail, bring my tailgate down. If I want to load a four-wheeler from the trailer to the pickup, I can do it now. Previously, I'd have to load it up there beforehand and then connect the trailer, and it's time consuming. This, I can just position it and be good to go. So, anyways, it comes with its own foot, the bolt holding the foot. Mind you, these are loose, by the way. They're maybe a little bit finger tight. So when you get it, just make sure that you double check it. Now the same thing for the handle up here. So what I'm going to do, like everything else, I'm going to kind of tear it a little bit apart, re-lube it, because I find that like factory lubing, I'm nothing against Ultimate Jack, don't know you personally or whatever. But a lot of times I find with equipment like this, it's just the minimum amount. It's usually just kind of like a little mild oil, a little mild grease. I like to put industrial because this stuff is going to be outside. It's going to be in the weather. I need something that I can depend on. Snow, rain, what have you. Heat, all that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and crank her completely out. So, we might advance that video, so just bear with me. And one thing I like to do also is if you get where you get really burned out, you don't want to crank all day. Hold that thought. So let's say you want to go ahead and use your little Jack. Well, it's 3/8, so you just go ahead and go down. Don't go crazy, and don't have it on the excessive torque, but you want to basically get her where she'll stop. She kind of almost bottoms out. Don't get too creative. Just make sure that she stops, okay? Take that, put that over here. Now, you make sure you get your washer off. Pull her completely apart. And there you go. There's your tube assembly. There's your bushing. Double check before you go inside here and look around and make sure there ain't any extra stuff. But you know what that is. That's your crown bushing. That would be the one that goes on top of all this, like this. And if you notice, it's oil. It's not really a good kind of helping grease. You can't really get much further into here because it's swedged, it's collapsed down here. But the jack screw is attached in there, and then if you drop it all the way through, you could pretty much probably take a look at it from the bottom. But all in all, it's pretty simple. Most of your jacks are like this. So looking at it, I'm already basically telling myself it's time to lube, because it is not really protected. I prefer grease, one, because grease can handle the elements a lot better. Oil will tendency of certain temperatures still run and let gravity do its course, so then the top end of your screws, wherever your position, is pretty much dry. At least with gear grease, you're pretty much good to go. You can do it one of two ways, or whatever. You can do a multitude of ways. You can just sit here and just grease it, put it on your hands, go on there, put it on the jack screws. Definitely put it up here. You want, I mean, because like I said, that's oil, and you can already see there's a little bit of rust up in here. Yeah, rust, dirt, machining crap up in there. So you want to basically go ahead and just lube it really good. I use the same grease I use for the struts on the four-wheeler, struts on the vehicles. It's Mobile One. I use it
let's put it like this. It has proved itself many a times when I do landing gear on aircraft, the wheel bearings on aircraft, that's what we used to use. They could have been upgraded by now on certain aircraft. But you use mobile, it's temp resistant, its temp is very good, its viscosity level of breakdown is very good. It basically holds itself. It doesn't get that nasty cocky, not cocky, but gooey setup. So basically what I'm doing is just going to go right down one side, and what's going to happen is when you screw it back in, it's going to put a little shield of it up here. So not doing it normal. This is just kind of a quick how-to video, so if you have chance, sitting there fighting trying to do this all one-handed. But basically you just want to make sure, put that right there for right now, but just basically get it in there, work it, and you don't have to do the whole shaft. I mean, I've seen people just get just completely bonkers and lube the whole thing. And that's great if you want, but the thing is, all you're doing is wasting your grease. Just make sure that you get it inside, get it in your grooves, and you want to do it all the way to where it leads in, and then about where you normally set it. The travel through, it'll probably pick up more grease on the way, but when it comes down to it, you just want to make sure you got it in there. So, like I said, put that there. And grease wise, like I said, I'm just using what I have in the garage, my mobile. And my mobile does pretty good. I mean, like I said, I've never had any really problems with it, especially when like I'm out riding a four-wheeler. If I'm going to places, depending, I'll throw in marine grease. Especially if I'm going and playing in soup, or going and pulling my brother-in-law out of holes. But 9 times out of 10, mobile ones is always what I usually use. Never have any problems with it. Okay, then like your bearings up here at the top, and feel how that is. I mean, you can hear how it is. Okay, real easy. This is the bottom, so just put a little bit around there. Put it that way. Let it fight you a minute, like it's trying right now. Okay. What the French toast is going on? Okay. Take the next one. It's another washer. Put it on there. Get it on there. This is your... I love this. Okay, see that? That's where your bearings roll on, and that thing was as dry as could be. It has no grease in there, nothing in the grooves, nothing for the bearings really. It's just going to be something after time where the bearings inside are just going to go out. The cool thing is look at that. Part numbers. So let's say if you don't ever, let's say that for some reason the Ultimate Trailer Jack Company goes out of business. Well, the cool thing is, at least you got a part number. You can go back and go into a shop and say, hey, can you hook me up? This is the bearing I need, or something similar. See, look at that. That's before I put it on it. That's dry and it's rough. So, just go ahead, work it around. You want to get it all over inside them. Okay? Not just goo it on there and leave it, but you want it to go ahead and get in there, get inside the housing, because these are rolling. And you want it basically to coat as much as you can in there. And you don't have to get really crazy, but just enough in there. Okay? So then you go ahead, put her on there. I already feel a little bit better difference. But see, that was the top crown. Remember the one piece that fell out? But look how dry that is. There's nothing there. So, like I said, take a little bit of greasy, slab it around, make it pretty. But just, I put enough to where it kind of would go all the way around and be even with it. Fill up the hole, or I mean not the hole, but fill up the groove, so that when you do it, at least you know when it sandwiches on there, it's covered all the way around 360. Alright, then you put that back on there. Take whatever you got else, just rub it back down on the shaft. Okay, that's about it. Clean any excess off, because I'm going to explain the reason why you don't want to lube this. Well, you can lube this part, but you don't lube the outside. So then you just take it, and if you want, just go down with it, catch whatever you got, and then just rub it up on the main part of the down of the jack component. Now, here's the thing. This stuff does get a little gooey, but it's a great preventative for it sticking. Sometimes, depending on if you loan this to a relative and they leave it or they use salt, if you're traveling with salt, this will help cut down the salt kind of getting up in it. Well, not getting in there, but making it sticky. This is my third carry-on trailer, and this is the normal thing I normally do with all my jacks. Some people, like I said, put oil. Why? Oil does not stick. Now, if you want to for for just as a pre-treatment or something, hey, knock yourself out. Use some 3-in-1 WD-40, whatever. But don't rely on oil as on your gear shaft fluid. All your worm gears, anything that's out there, is greased. It's never oiled. Some have a reservoir that's full of oil, or a thicker oil, maybe 100 weight, 90. And still, after a time, that stuff will still, when it gets hot, it'll still run out and get all over the place. At least with grease, it stays pretty much put. It will run a little bit, but it will still do its job. So now that we have that done, let's take a look at the house. House is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. Inside, it's just clean. But the thing is what struck me, and this is really kind of weird, is yesterday when I got this at Tractor Supply. Let me put that outside. Okay, I started looking at all. They're not machine weld. So this is not a machine welding. This is human, all the way around and everything. I mean, you can see some of the weldings. You get what you pay for, I guess, is what I'm saying. But anyways, the one thing I noticed, so if you ever purchase these, try to purchase them in person. Do not purchase them online unless you really trust the vendor and they got a good return. But you can see these are machined down. Somebody's grinding them down. But the weird thing is the one I was looking at yesterday, before I picked this one up, down through here was almost a virtual air pocket. It had looked like it was not even truly welded up in here. So more likely it was just welded right there at the base of the seam. And I'm sorry, but I want something that is stout, something that can take a beating. But here's your plunger, or whatever your lock, okay, and your lock assembly, so you can slide it up and down. And then there's the groove follower. See how it is, what it does, keeps it from going outside. So basically you just go ahead, squeeze it over, she locks into place, okay, and you'll see down, let's bring this closer, shall we? Okay. There we go. You'll see that the pin right there sticking out. So that's what locks it and holds that whole thing. But that's about it. You basically want to look around, just make sure that you got no cracks, the welds look good, everything else is fine. I mean, these things are very simple and anybody can work on them. If you want something, always, like I said, always do a PM. If you're not going to use your trailer for more than a couple months, take the time, pop it off, look at it, clean it, re-lube it, throw it back on. It'll be fine for a long time. Alright, so now we're going to go back and assemble it. So, just alright, now we got new gloves on. Let's go ahead, we're going to take her, make sure your setup is back the way it was. Take Mr. Shaft, make sure your grooves are where your grooves need to be. You'll have the sandwiching in there for holding it. So you'll see your groove indentions. Just make sure that you're there. what we'll do, you kind of gotta feel it around a little bit. Get your finger up there, kind of keep it like that. I know you're not gonna see this part, but look down inside, make sure that you can use the shaft to line you up there, okay? And then you grab your handy dandy drill. Let's put that right there so we can have that right there. Yeah, Mr. Drill. Then we grab Mr. Drill. We put him back on. Instead of hand cranking, you just bring it on in with Mr. Drill. Mr. Drill's already doing his job. Okay. I just bring it up enough to where it's unseated. There we go. Put washer back on. Take your washer. Put your washer back on. Take your handle. Put it back on. Fight with it a little bit, just for alignment purposes. Okay. And that, get Mr. Bolt, put it through, fishing game, and take the nut, put it on there, go ahead and tighten, don't gorilla tighten, just fight with your tools. Okay, there you go. Now you got it where it's on. And then go ahead, grab your rag. Like I said, wipe down any of the grease that might have got out here while you were installing. Like I said, you don't really need it. Plus, at the other way, if there's a chance, it could gum it up out here, make it kind of gnarly. Or let's say that your pin is not fully engaged. You think it's engaged, but it might not be fully engaged. It could be halfway there. Well, the grease is going to help let that thing slide, and next thing you know, you got a foot issue. So, I've seen a couple of reviews from people talking about, you know, this thing was a great idea, but the problem is it slipped down and smushed their foot, or smushed a hand, or almost smushed them. Smush, smush, smush. But when it came down to it, I don't know what to tell you. I wasn't there. But I can tell you from past experiences with certain things that only have one safety retainer pin, that you want to make sure that the whole shaft area is always dry. You don't want to lube it, because there's always that one in what if chance. So then all you do is take Mr. Foot. Oh, I know what we can do. Alright, let's take a look inside. There you go. And there's your jack screw. Some people would just pour oil down there, or pour grease, or what have you. It really doesn't work. There's still crap in there. But if you look, there's your jack screw. Okay, and it wobbles in there. That's just the way the assembly is. Okay. But if you look, it's nicely coated in grease. Okay. So then, like I said, you grab, let's extend it out just a little bit. Take Mr. Foot, Mr. Bolt, doesn't matter, you can put it any way you want as long as you get it in there. So then you do that, you go ahead, you do this. Like I said, my stuff was finger tight. I want to see at least a thread coming through. So I'm going to do mine a little bit different. Big noggin bumped the camera. Don't worry, we didn't have an earthquake or something. So, okay. It's got thread coming through. It's on a lock or a lock nut. So basically that's it. And then here, it's got, whoops, might make sense if I pull that out. But it's got a spring inside. Maybe you want to dabble a little WD-40 in there. so that it'll have, you know, a smoother pull and maybe help the spring push it back. It's at your discretion. I mean, this is all at your thing anyways. It's not me. This is just what I do for my stuff. But other than that, that's it. It's a good jack. Biggest safety concern is make sure that your pin is locked. You notice it's not, you put weight on it, it's going to drop. So even if you feel where it's stiffening up, unless you can put your lock pin in there, it's not fully seated. So basically, locks in, pop your pin in, that'll make sure it doesn't come out, and you're set at your height that you want to be at. So when you do this, make sure your chains are out of the way. But there's your lowest profile. Lock it in. Bumper height and everything else. Tailgate will be closed right up about here. So that gives me more than enough room if I need to carry over and get in the back. Hey everybody. I'm going to do a little bonus footage for you today, just for a second on the end of this thing. This is the one that came out of the original one that came out of the carry-on trailer, and this is the reason why I was talking about reasons why you want to do your preventative maintenance. If you notice, this is a different configuration. The bearing's inside, you can't really take it out of the sleeve, it's crimped, so there's no way. But if you notice, it's all dirty, gummy, and nasty. Take WD-40, spray inside, clean it up. Once you know it's fairly clean, take some compressed air a little bit, blow out any crud, and then go ahead and do like I did with the other one and pack the grease in there and just keep packing it and rolling it around, because like I said, this stuff doesn't really come in lubed at all. The worm gear looks healthy, so that's a plus, and that goes in. But see the difference, like in this one, the only thing holding this in here is these little punch wedges that they did. Looks like there's 2 of them, and that's it. That's the only thing holding that whole nut assembly in there. So like I said, I just wanted to let everybody know the difference in the bearing. This one has the place, and it sits just like this. Actually, it sits with that at the top. So then your water will leak past your washer, which is sitting right there, go down inside and go right on top of there and leak down. That's why you want to do your jack maintenance, because if not, you're gonna have a rusted out mess. So anyways, just thought I'd give you a little tip. Talk to you later.